Hey kids, this is Ivan. How you doing? I don't know about you, but every once in a while something is thought-provoking to me. I come across something in real life or gaming, and it makes me kind of reconsider my position or just kind of deconstruct something and see why am I doing this or why do I believe this. In this case, there's a poster, and I think he has a YouTube channel, and he's called Hedge Hobbit. That's his moniker on forums, and it's all one word. And he mostly posts in OD&D forums, as far as I can see. Um, there's really two numbers, and I've thought about this before. There's two numbers that really kind of express how good you are at combat when you're in Dungeons and Dragons. And the first one would be how many hit points do you have, and that's a function of how many hit dice you have. The more hit dice, the more hit points, and that represents your defensive combat ability. I'm in the camp that believes you probably have one or two real hit points like that. That represents your actual life-threatening damage, and all the hit points you have in excess of that are just how good you are at rolling with the punches, or your will to fight, or your mojo, or luck, or whatever you want to call it. You got hit, but you really didn't get hurt. Um, the second number would be your attack bonus, or if you prefer, your THAC0 or your place on the attack matrix. All the same thing when it comes down to it. And that's how good you are at offensive combat. Better you are at that, the better you are at hitting people. Classically, the game has kind of expressed those two numbers in two different ways. You just kind of increase on the attack table, or with the attack bonus, however you want to do it. And then you'd increase the number of hit dice a character would have to increase their hit points. Original Dungeons and Dragons had everybody have a D6 hit die, and so the magic user just got hit dice less frequently, and he would get maybe like +1 point in between, that sort of thing. And they re-rolled. That's a whole different story. However, you get to something like the classic or basic D&D, where all of a sudden they introduced the concept of different hit dice. So if you're a magic user, you have a D4, and you're a cleric, you have a D6, you're a fighter, you have a D8. And later on, they expanded. They made the hit dice slightly bigger for fighters, that sort of thing. We all kind of know that. But Hedge Hobbit was we're talking about something that I've kind of thought of, but he expressed it better and better was going on in my head. Because what if those are all just expressed by the same thing? Why would your defensive and offensive combat ability be not really connected to each other? So how about your attack bonus goes up every time you get an actual hit die? And in the times, if you're going to use something like OD&D, if you get that middle level where you just get a +1 hit point, your attack bonus doesn't go up, but it's all connected. It's all one number. Now that kind of sounds familiar because if you think of something like monsters, their attack bonus goes up when their hit dice go up, in like something like classic D&D. So that was kind of an interesting concept. The more hit dice you have, your hit dice should equal your attack bonus. And instead of having the hit size of your hit die depending on your class, how about it depends on your race? So if you're a human, you're big. You get D8 hit dice. Even if you're a magic user, you get a D8 hit die. You just don't get them as frequently. And if you're something like an elf or a dwarf, maybe you're mid-sized, you get a D6. And if you're a halfling, you get a D4. Once again, it doesn't matter. You're a halfling fighter, well, you're little. You're going to get a D4 hit die. And that was kind of an interesting, an elegant, fresh look at how to handle this, how to make those two numbers. How are you going to represent the offensive and defensive combat ability? If you're something like an ogre, no, you're not a player character, but you're just big. Maybe you've got 4 hit dice, so you have a +4 attack bonus in that case. But maybe they're D12 hit dice. You're big. That was interesting food for thought. He actually, if I recall correctly, went on a forum and made a table using, I believe, just D6 hit dice, and kind of revamped the numbers. So like every time you get a hit die, you would have an extra attack bonus, and he tried to make it, pretty much equal to like what would really happen. And I forget if it was basic or first edition D&D in terms of the average number of hit points you'd have it at a certain class. So in the middle levels where you didn't get a new hit die, you got an extra +1 or +2 hit points or whatever it happened to be. And that was interesting. It actually had the odd effect of making magic users have a better attack bonus than they normally would. It was kind of interesting, a little unusual. But I dug it. It was a cool challenge to my thinking and thought exercise. What am I going to do with this? I don't know. But it made me reevaluate, the core mechanics of the game, or how you want to express, there's numbers you want to get at. How do you express them? How do you get there? And once again, I kind of stripped, away some things for me that I would think of as core mechanics and essential to the game. And maybe they're not. Maybe there's different ways to skin a cat, so to speak. So I really enjoyed that. I thank him for the kind of kick in the butt to take a look at things and see. There's a different way to arrive at these numbers and to get to the same place.